Good morning, everybody. Today is Tuesday the 19th of April and I was just struck with sudden inspiration to film a quick YouTube video whilst I'm sitting in my garden in the sun without any sun cream. Unfortunately, I can't be bothered to go all the way upstairs and put sun cream on. Anyway, I wanted to do one about work motivation because I know exam season's coming up for everyone. Especially if you're in GCSEs or A-levels or university, you're bound to have exams. That's something I've been contemplating a lot this year because going to Cambridge obviously equals a lot of work, and it's more work than I've ever done in my life before, and I don't even know if I'm doing it right. But one thing that I've been realising is that work is such a gift, and it's like a test. Like, we're revising for a test, and people from all throughout history have been given tests. For example, I'm just going to use biblical examples because that's what I can think of most readily. Adam was the first man on this earth, and God gave him and Eve a test to not eat from the tree of all knowledge, and they did. But if you think about it, their test was given to them by a good God who wanted the best for them. And then it was manipulated by, obviously, Satan, and that led to them realising things that they shouldn't have realised, and that was the first sin. But then God promises that one day, like, he will restore humanity through someone who has passed the ultimate test, which is Jesus. And then all throughout the Bible, there were people who were given tests, like Abraham, who had a test. The ultimate test for him was like sacrificing his son, his most loved son, Isaac, and he almost did. But then at the very last moment, God told him to not do it, and then he said that because of that, God will bless all his descendants, and then his descendants became like the people of Israel, like the Israelites. And so I think tests are to help us rely on the wisdom of God, because we can't do it all by ourselves. And there's no way I can know everything about medicine, especially only studying it for a few months, even though I'm expected to do a test on it. And there's no way like you are able to know everything in any of your exams. But I guess that is a good thing, because through these challenges, like, we're brought closer to God, and we get to understand more of who he is, because he made everything that we're being tested on, and through his generosity do we actually get to have these tests, because it's like, it's us being alive. Like, we can study, we can enjoy life, and through doing these tests we can realize ultimately it's not down to us how we do, because there's a guy who's passed the ultimate test, who's Jesus, and all we have to do is to do our best, work hard, and the more we work, like, I like the runner Eric Liddell, who said that when he's running he can feel God's pleasure, and when we work we should try and feel God's pleasure, that we're basically continuing the work that he did in creating the world. And that's just something that I really wanted to share really quickly, because it's hard to motivate yourself to work, especially when it's hard sometimes and exams are stressful. But if we think about it, tests are so normal, like, everyone goes through them, and we should just pray and really learn to trust, but also take action, because God wants us to be thoughtful and purposeful in what we do, which includes studying. And it's true that if we fail to plan, then we plan to fail, and we should aim at something, otherwise we won't hit anything all the time. So I really like this sentence that I read on a blog yesterday. It says, God's grace compels and guides us to stir and encourage in ways we did not intend, but God's grace also makes us intentional. He gives us grace not only despite our effort, but in our effort. and that's really encouraging, because it's like God gives us like these gifts and the ability to learn and like issues in life, because life isn't meant to just be one like straight path. Like, we have tests we need to pass, whether that's in the form of like actual academic tests or other things, like other difficulties in life, but through our effort, like, he gives us grace, and that's really encouraging. So yeah, it's just something I wanted to share. Also, I've been learning a lot from like reading different blogs, which I might link down below, but it's given me a lot to think about, because I just want to, I guess my goal for the next month is to just do my best, and God will do the rest. Like, it sounds really corny, but it's true. And I wanted to share other things that I learned from Fresh Away. So, got some practical tips for you guys now. Treat your study like a job. Do deep work, so cut out distractions. I tried giving up Instagram for Lent, but it didn't really happen, unfortunately. I like gave up midway through when I came back from uni. Don't be a perfectionist. 4 is care for your mental health. 5 is don't lose key relationships. I've also been thinking a lot about friendships. I think it's really hard to keep up with people, especially like old school friends, or even just like know who you want to invest in, because obviously like it'd be nice to be friends with everyone, but we physically don't have that time. So one thing that my one-to-one said was that you can pray to ask God to open our eyes to who needs like kind of like our care in the place where God's placed us. 6 is a positive no. So when you say no to something, it enables you to say yes to something else. So you can be like, thank you for the invitation, I would have loved to come, but unfortunately, and then give your valid excuse. 7 is you can do something else than study, which is to prioritise church. And like last term, I was kind of a bit all over the place on this aspect, because I was really struggling with work because I didn't do enough in the first term, so I thought I needed to catch up. But once I actually set aside the time on Sunday for church and Bible study, it really made my week a lot better. And 8 is big rocks first, so what is hardest for you to do it first, and then we can look forward to what God is going to do in the future, because he's a good God, and it's really amazing how we have like this living faith. Something I'm trying to act out more. Like, it's all well and good telling everyone that you've got faith, but if you're not actually implementing it, then, you know, like, God's grace acts through our efforts and our trust in him, and our labour in the Lord is not in vain, and that is something that's really good. So yeah, I hope this was encouraging. I don't know why I had the motivation to do this, but if you're not a Christian and if you don't understand anything that I've said here, feel free to ask. But essentially, like, I was just taking examples from the Bible to show that we will all have tests in life, and academic tests are one of the many that we'll all face, but it's up to us to put our effort in. God's grace will act through our efforts, and we can feel God's happiness as we work, and it's such a privilege to be able to do so. So thank you for listening, and hope you have a really good exam season. Probably will see you on the other side, but I have no idea when I'm going to upload to this YouTube channel. And yeah.